Hey basketball guys, we have news. Let's go to more news from the Golden State Warriors, but before that, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave your like. What do the Warriors need these days? There are several answers, because this team is failing a lot in defense and making childish mistakes in attack. Take advantage of the commercial deadline and sign new players, even those who have young talents, but who are currently not performing enough. The fluctuation during the games is very big, and for the Warriors to go to the playoffs, they will only have to trade with other teams. Rumors: Warriors sign two big men from Utah Jazz. If the Golden State Warriors fail to add a franchise-elevating asset to their roster, they should rush to trade for promising young assets. The franchise may end up acquiring an underrated Utah Jazz duo this season. This trade would give the Warriors exactly what they've been missing: size, rebounding, and consistent scoring, fadeaway worlds. Eddie Bitar wrote Wednesday. Walker Kessler, a defensive anchor, addresses the glaring issue in Golden State's interior defense. Averaging 10.5 points, 10.7 rebounds, and 2.9 blocks per game this season, Kessler brings rim protection the Warriors have lacked since losing Kevin Looney's youthful agility. His ability to finish around the rim and set hard screens also enhances Stephen Curry's pick-and-roll opportunities. John Collins adds a new dimension to the Warriors' offense with his combination of athleticism and shooting. At 6'9", Collins is shooting 42.4% from three while averaging 17.7 points and 8.2 rebounds per game this season. His versatility makes him an ideal fit for Steve Kerr's system, which thrives on floor spacing and movement. Collins' ability to attack mismatches inside or stretch the floor on the perimeter would keep defenses honest, particularly in crunch time. Adding these two players could elevate Golden State's offensive efficiency while fortifying their defense. With Kessler's defensive dominance and Collins' scoring versatility, the Warriors would immediately look more balanced and dangerous. However, the cost of losing glue players like Kevin Looney and Gary Payton II might sting in the short term. In Bitar's proposed trade, the Warriors would send Jonathan Kuminga, Payton II, Looney, Kyle Anderson, and two future first-round picks to the Jazz for Kessler and Collins. Kessler is still a raw project in year 3, but it isn't asinine to predict that the Auburn product will be an all-star in the future. As a fundamentally sound 7-foot center with great touch around the rim and superb defensive instincts, Kessler averages a double-double and over 2 blocks per game on 71.9% field goal shooting. On the other hand, Collins is an above-the-rim 6'9" athlete who can be depended upon to drill triples at a high rate and snag a respectable number of rebounds per game. While Kuminga's exceptionally high ceiling would cause the Warriors to hesitate to place him on the trade block, the organization's urge to complete another meaningful trade may result in a surprising in-season move. Warriors hit rock bottom after heartbreaking Christmas Day loss. The Golden State Warriors suffered a gut-wrenching defeat on Christmas Day at the hands of the Los Angeles Lakers, despite a vintage Stephen Curry performance complete with several clutch buckets down the stretch. As always, Lakers-Warriors delivered for NBA fans, as LeBron James and Curry are still the league's most thrilling show even in the twilight of their careers. Unfortunately for the Dubs, Curry's late-game flurry to tie the score at 113 proved worthless when Austin Reeves beat Andrew Wiggins for a crafty layup with a second left to send Golden State to their 11th loss in 14 games. This spiral has landed Steve Kerr's bunch in the 10th seed in the West, just a half game up on the Spurs for play-in positioning. Warriors hit rock bottom after heartbreaking Christmas Day loss. How did the Warriors get here? Simply put, Golden State's 3-11 slide since their raging hot start is less of an anomaly than the 12-3 burst they got off to, considering their roster. The Warriors have an incredibly deep group of players who are all rock-solid rotation guys. They have several great defensive players, a few knockdown shooters, and a ton of athletic guards and forwards who make them a very difficult team to play against. However, the Warriors are never going to compete with the upper tier of the Western Conference if they don't add more scoring punch to help Curry. Currently, Golden State lacks a true second option who can reliably give them 20 points on a nightly basis. Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Buddy Hield, and others show flashes of high-level scoring. However, it is too inconsistent and allows opponents to focus all of their defensive resources on Curry, forcing others to beat them. At one time, the legendary guard was able to overcome brutal defensive coverages and still carry the dubs, but he is approaching his 37th birthday and just doesn't have the same motor for 82 games. This season is reminiscent of the 2020-21 team, where a prime Curry averaged 32 points a game and carried an undermanned roster to relevance. But even then, Golden State fell in the play-in tournament. The Warriors have other roster makeup issues, such as their lack of spacing anytime Draymond Green plays the 4 to add size with a real center. However, if they have one big move in them, it should be to add an elite scorer to remove Curry's burden. Similar to the Lakers, the Warriors' front office has been very hesitant to part with ascending young players and/or draft picks to swing a huge deal and make them true championship contenders. Famously, Mike Dunleavy Jr. and company opted to hang on to assets like Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski instead of moving them for Lauri Markkanen last summer. Unfortunately, after such a rough start, Podziemski's value has decreased significantly, making it harder for the Warriors to make a deal at the deadline. Nevertheless, if they are going to keep Curry until he retires, they owe him the chance to play in big games again while he is still a superstar, which he indisputably is. Their two timelines approach failed, and now is the time to pivot and improve their current team. Zach LaVine, Jimmy Butler, and Brandon Ingram. Early on Christmas Day, ESPN's Shams Charania reported that six-time All-Star Jimmy Butler prefers to be traded from Miami prior to the deadline. Butler may have several suitors, including the Phoenix Suns, Houston Rockets, and several others. Even so, Golden State should be involved in trade talks as soon as possible. Butler provides both the secondary scoring that GS so desperately needs, but is also a proven winner who would fit well in the Warriors' winning culture. Zach LaVine and the Bulls have been destined for a divorce for several years now. It finally appears that both sides will move on from each other, as Chicago is entering a rebuild around young players. But, the UCLA product is having his best season in a half-decade, averaging nearly 22 points a game on terrific efficiency. The knock on LaVine has always been his lack of commitment to winning, his defense, and his health, but he is a special offensive talent who could blossom in the right situation. Lastly, Brandon Ingram looks like the odd man out in New Orleans due to their crowded ball-handling core and his impending free agency. Stephen Curry comments on Golden State Warriors' future plans for him. He is struggling with repetitive problem. Stephen Curry ended up on the losing side despite an amazing performance against the Los Angeles Lakers. For years, the NBA community has debated when the Golden State Warriors dynasty will truly end. While over the past few years, there have been a few indications, the Dubs are seemingly struggling like never before in the 2024-25 NBA season. Despite having a 12-3 start to the season, the Warriors continue to spiral down in the Western Conference standings. Stephen Curry's injury woes. A key reason behind the Warriors' recent poor form has been Steph Curry's battle with a recurring knee injury. Initially, Curry watched a few games from the sidelines while healing from his injury. However, even after coming back to the roster, he has been on a minutes restriction. Steph is averaging just 31.2 minutes per game this season, his lowest since the 2011-12 season, outside of the 2019-20 season where the baby-faced assassin played just 5 games. The 36-year-old's reduced minutes on the floor have directly impacted the Warriors' record as they fell to 15-14 following their 2-point loss versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Curry's future plans while navigating through injury. After a string of poor games, Curry finally found some rhythm versus the purple and gold. He finished the night with 38 points, 1 rebound, and 6 assists, albeit in a losing effort. With the Warriors gearing up for back-to-back games soon, Curry gave an update on potentially missing a matchup to focus on recovery. "I know when the knee stuff popped up, resting was part of the conversation. Obviously, still dealing with it to come capacity," Curry said. "I think how we've been approaching it, play the game, see how you feel the next day, figure out a routine. It wouldn't surprise me if I didn't play, but it wouldn't surprise me if I got to play too," he added. Considering the Warriors are scheduled to face the LA Clippers and Phoenix Suns, playing either game without Curry could lead to further trouble for the franchise. However, he is still on minutes restrictions as head coach Steve Kerr continues to scratch his head to find a lineup that allows Steph to rest as much as possible. Warriors receive bad news after losing to Lakers on Christmas. The Golden State Warriors are still reeling from their heartbreaking 115-113 loss to the Los Angeles Lakers on Christmas Day when they received bad news. Miami Heat president Pat Riley is standing pat on the Jimmy Butler situation, dousing the Warriors' burning desire to land a secondary star next to Stephen Curry with cold water. "We usually don't comment on rumors, but all this speculation has become a distraction to the team and is not fair to the players and coaches. Therefore, we will make it clear, we are not trading Jimmy Butler," Riley wrote in a statement on December 26. Riley's definitive statement quelled the Butler trade rumors, which dominated the past 2 weeks. On Christmas, ESPN's Shams Charania reported that Butler prefers a trade out of Miami ahead of the February 6 deadline. Charania doubled down on his latest report on the developing situation in Miami involving Butler on the NBA Countdown, citing things began to unravel in the offseason when the Heat did not offer their franchise a star contract extension. They bypassed that did not extend him, and they lean more into their young, rising core, Bam Adebayo, an all-star, and Tyler Herro, Charania said. And over the last 3 years, Jimmy Butler has wanted the Heat to go get him some help in that roster. They just have not been able to land that player. They've gone after Kevin Durant, Damian Lillard, and Kyrie Irving. They have not been able to land that next big fish with Jimmy Butler. The writing, in a lot of ways, is on the wall for the Heat and for Jimmy Butler. Underscore 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 underscore. Warriors favored to land Jimmy Butler. The Warriors' interest in Butler dates back to the offseason when he did not get an extension from the Heat, according to The Athletic's Sam Amick. "Jimmy Butler's going to be a free agent next summer, didn't get an extension done," Amick said on the TK Show podcast on September 12. "The Warriors, as you know, have an interest there and I think probably, they made a couple of calls during the summer." According to Charania, the Warriors and the Phoenix Suns are atop the short list of Butler's preferred next win-now teams if the Heat are going to trade him. The 2 Texas teams, Houston Rockets and Dallas Mavericks, are also on Butler's list, but both teams have shown no interest to trade for him. The Warriors have the cleanest path to trading for Butler with different combinations of draft picks, young players such as Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Podziemski, and mid-size contracts, including their newest acquisition Dennis Schroeder, to work around with.